Welcome to Ritter Center's Under the Stars event. I'm Mark Shotwell, Executive Director of Ritter Center. Thank you to everyone for taking part and everyone that has contributed in some way to this event. Your support is tremendous, and you're helping to end homelessness in Marin. We have an excellent lineup for you tonight, but first, we're looking for photos of you and your team at your sleep out. Take a selfie, post it to Instagram, use the hashtag #RitterCenterSleepOut, or tag us using @RitterCenter. Also, if you haven't yet seen it, we have a program booklet for the evening on the Under the Stars website. It's really wonderful. Take a look at it. Now to kick off our event, here's a video greeting from the president of the Ritter Center Board, Margaret Trezevant.
Hi, my name is Margaret Trezevant, and I currently have the privilege of serving as the board president of Ritter Center. I spent most of my nursing career working in programs serving the homeless in San Francisco. And I remember back in the day when we first opened the multi-service centers to begin providing shelter at night. But only at night. Everyone had to leave at 7 in the morning to fend for themselves during the day, carrying all their earthly possessions on their back with no place to eat, to rest, to go to the bathroom, to clean up. It was so dehumanizing and demoralizing. So it was no surprise that no one was coming back to the shelter with a new job or a place to stay. And we knew that this wasn't working. Fortunately, we are now using evidence-based programs that work, and Ritter Center has been on the forefront of this. Ritter started out 30 years ago as Ritter House, and some of you still call it that, I know, by giving out food and clothing to help meet the needs of a growing unhoused population. But we have grown in size and scope and are now a federally qualified health center providing health care, mental health care, outreach, case management, substance abuse treatment. And we're part of the Housing First program, which, unlike those early days, recognizes that the first step towards stability is housing, and then providing all the support needed in order to retain that housing and rebuild their lives and community. We work closely with our community and federal partners in this effort, and we're recognized as a community leader, making a difference in people's lives. Ritter Center has housed hundreds of our formerly homeless neighbors and provided the support to make sure that they're successful in maintaining their housing. Making the transition from the street to a home is hard, and it takes more than just a key and a rental agreement. It takes a lot of support to make that transition a success. And hundreds more have been saved from the tragedy of losing their housing in the first place because of Ritter Center programs. Because losing one's housing is a tragedy, not just for the individual, but it's a tragedy for the entire community. We all suffer when this happens. So you can be sure that Ritter Center's on it, and that every dollar you contribute is going to be used in programs that have been shown to work. So thank you for joining us and helping to end the scourge of homelessness in our community. We are very grateful.
Thank you for your leadership and support, Margaret. You're truly inspiring. I'm Lucia Martel Dow and one of the board members of Ritter Center. And I'm going to ask Mark to join us so I can ask him a few questions to help us frame tonight's event. Good evening, Mark. Thanks for joining us.
Good evening, Lucia.
Thank you for having me here. I'm so excited to join this event. I want to ask you a couple of questions. So the first one is like, what are we really trying to accomplish with the Under the Stars Sleep Out tonight?
Sure. Tonight, we'd really like you to be present and imagine yourself without a home. You have nowhere safe to be comfortable and sleep, no food to eat, no heat, no loved ones to help. Really put yourself in the shoes of an individual experiencing homelessness, because despite what some believe, no one wants to be homeless.
Thank you for sharing that. And can you tell a little bit about Ritter? A lot of people may be new to the work. So can you tell us a little bit about the impact that it has in the community?
Sure. Ritter Center is a federally qualified health center. We specifically are a healthcare for the homeless center. We provide services to individuals experiencing homelessness, those who are precariously housed, and other individuals with limited income. Ritter Center provides primary medical care, behavioral health care through therapy and substance abuse services, a food pantry serving hundreds of households every week, case management for linkage with benefits and resources like food stamps and Social Security, and Housing First services to assist individuals to permanently end their homelessness.
Thank you, Mark. That's a great overview of Reader Center's programs. There are so many heartwarming stories of Reader Center's positive impact in the community over the years, all of which are not possible without the support of donors, partners, staff, volunteers, and board. But one of the best examples of your support that helps people rebuild and stabilize their lives is the story of Pops. He lived in his car for years before we were able to help him at Reader Center in 2012. Here's the story.
My name's Gary McFadden, better known as Pops.
How'd the nickname Pops come to be?
That goes back to when I was married and I had 3 sons, and my ex-wife started calling me Pops. The boys picked up on it. They came to football and baseball practice. The kids that they were playing with picked up on it. So basically for the last 22 years, I've been Pops.
Oh, I like that.
I do too.
So tell me how you first came into contact with Ritter Center.
I was homeless. I was living in my car, basically. Fortunately, I had a car. I didn't end up actually sleeping on the street. I mean, I was sleeping in my car, but I was still on the street. And well, in my case, I was employed, but I wasn't secure enough in my employment that I could sign a lease and carry out, you know, the obligations that come with a lease until Colin got me housing. And, you know, I feel somewhat more responsible now having a house than I probably did when I was houseless, so to speak.
We have excellent guests with us tonight, but Pops really steals the show. Let's pause for a moment. I'd like to remind everyone that you'll have time to explore and bid in the auction after our program. Since this is our final night of fundraising for Under the Stars, you can also make last-minute donations, and the link is on the Zoom background that is right here. We have some very special guests with us tonight. First, I'd like to introduce U.S. Congressman Jared Huffman and Senator Mike McGuire. Congressman Huffman represents California's 2nd District, which includes Marin. He has championed many worthwhile efforts since his first term. Among them, he has fought to improve access to affordable housing options, even passing legislation to create badly needed affordable housing in West Marin. Senator McGuire is a lifelong Californian, the 3rd highest ranking member of the Senate, and the youngest assistant majority leader in decades. He has been very successful at securing resources to combat homelessness and build affordable housing in rural California. They are both valued allies in ending homelessness.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Congressman Jared Huffman, and I want to thank the Ritter Center for including me in their Under the Stars, a sleep out to end homelessness in Marin, raising public awareness of the complex issues around homelessness and busting some common myths about people experiencing homelessness. These are things that will hopefully build compassion within our community and will result in action. Ritter Center is an important partner in addressing homelessness. This federally qualified health center applies evidence-based practices like Housing First. Ritter Center employs an approach to ending homelessness that includes improving the health and well-being of people living in poverty through culturally sensitive and accessible high-quality medical care and social services. This is a really complicated problem. And if we're serious about ending homelessness, as opposed to just pushing it out of sight, then we all have a role to play. And it starts with getting educated on the root causes of homelessness and treating people who are experiencing homelessness with the same empathy and attention that we would give a friend or loved one. So tonight's Under the Stars is a chance to focus on what it's like to be homeless. But we know that one night out of our beds is a far cry from what it's really like to be homeless. Many of us don't know and never will know what that is like. But if the measure of the health of a community is how well we treat our most vulnerable members, We all have work to do here in Marin County. Together, I think we can beat this. So thank you, Ritter Center, for your work. Thank you for all of you participating in tonight's program. I support your efforts.
Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Mike McGuire, State Senator, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. And I gotta say, we're incredibly grateful that you're supporting the Ritter Center. Look, I gotta be honest. Since this pandemic has started, the Ritter Center has been busier than ever. They're an amazing team. They're busy on a good day. During this pandemic, they haven't missed a beat. They have housed 2,200 families as well as individuals off the streets. Since 2017, hundreds of residents have been permanently housed by the Ritter Center. And get this, over 95% of those individuals that they permanently housed remain in their home today. They have a groundbreaking behavioral and medical support partnership with Marin County Public Health, and the center, they feed over 350 families every week. When you give tonight, you're giving to those who are the most vulnerable in our community. Thank you again for your support, and let's stand strong for the Ritter Center, who stands strong for the homeless here in Marin County.
Thank you, Congressman Huffman and Senator McGuire, for your tremendous support and leadership. I'd like to now introduce our board member and San Rafael School Board member, Lucia Martel Dow. Through her work as an immigration attorney with Canal Alliance, she is dedicated to advancing immigrant and low-income communities. Lucia was instrumental in creating the first COVID testing station in the Canal District of San Rafael. Originally from Venezuela, she has always had a passion for social justice issues and human rights. Tonight, I'm going to briefly interview her about her powerful advocacy and social justice work as it relates to homelessness and poverty. Good evening again, Lucia.
Hi, Mark.
Lucia, I know your work stems from the fact that the issues immigrants face are not only related to the law, but so many other key factors like economics, financial stability, healthcare access, social justice, services, jobs, and living wages. It is your goal that immigrants have the same access to opportunities as everybody else. Can you talk more about that and how your life story has a nexus to your deep passion for these issues?
Absolutely. This is one of the things that I'm so passionate about because it intersects with also my family history, my family story. My father was an immigrant in Venezuela, and he and his family lived through very difficult times, and it was hard for them to overcome poverty. As an immigrant in a new country, it was very difficult for them to find their new way of life. But he was able to overcome that and his family because they were able to access services, safety net, and education. And it is our belief that as a human being, you have access to basic rights and basic needs. And that carried out through my life. My father and his family was an inspiration for me because I knew what he was able to accomplish and the reason why I'm here today. I want to share the wonderful story that my family have to tell to all the people. That just like immigrants, a lot of homeless people, unfortunately, have a lot of misunderstanding around their financial, economic, or mental health situation. They have to fight every day injustice, unfairness, and prejudice. And there's a lot of commonality. There's a lot of things in common. A lot of them, what we need is perhaps a warm bed under the stars and just being able to experience what other people with more resources have to experience. That is my passion, is to be able to bring my own experience and the experience of my family to the community. Because I think just like as I benefited and my family benefited, as our board member said, all as a community will benefit if we help each other.
Lucia, thank you for sharing that perspective and those insights. Our work together is a shared focus on helping people to overcome poverty. We must work to provide access to healthcare and substance abuse services and homelessness prevention for the immigrant community that is already disproportionately affected by many things, especially COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Can you elaborate on how and why we do that here in Marin County, both through your own work and your board service at Ritter Center?
Absolutely. One of the things that I'm very proud of, just like my work at Ritter Center and helping you, Mark, and your fantastic team and program and volunteers, is that we are trying to work through partnerships. We have heard tonight from great guests, and we're going to hear from all the ones later today. And one of the things that we do in Marin County, we're very good at, it's being collaborative and build upon those partnerships. But we also know that Marin County has many resources. And there's a lot of people that share a lot and people that don't have as much. So the work that I bring and what I do, just like you do, Mark, every day, is try to connect people with those resources that we know are so difficult to navigate. It is not easy, just like you have said and Margaret said before, just to turn a key and give someone just the access, because it really takes a lot of work to be able to overcome so many barriers that already existed. So through those partnerships, this is what I'm trying to do with Ritter. That's with the Ritter Center, what we try to do at Canal Alliance, what we try to do at other places in Marin County government. It's really try to build those resources for people, especially in such a beautiful place like Marin County. And that work is more urgent than ever. As you mentioned, Mark, during COVID-19 and the pandemic, we saw the disproportionate impact that COVID-19 had on those most vulnerable in our community, either folks that were low-income immigrants, people who were already homeless, facing substance abuse, mental health, or being on shelter. And the pandemic just made things worse. Thankfully, we have things like eviction moratorium and other things that potentially can help are the people that we serve and other homelessness services that I know Ritter has put in place, from rental assistance, which is also something that I've been trying to help with, through other services that Ritter Center have been able to embrace and implement in such a short turnaround. You have been able to transform the way we deliver the services. And that's what I think we bring together as a community, is our ability to be flexible, adapt. And what I think is so urgent and more urgent than ever is to provide those services. One of the things that really connects the work that I am trying to do as a board member and the work that I do in my everyday life is to also bring attention to these issues. As I mentioned before, it is about access. It's about being able to navigate the systems, but it's also about advocating for these things and things to happen. And I know that through these partnerships, we can change a lot of the systems that do not allow homeless people to have access to their basic needs. It's exactly what I said in the beginning. Individuals have human rights that are just intrinsic just for their existence. And that's the work that we're really trying to do. Through advocacy, through programs, through interventions, and with partnerships, Mark, I think we can really help ending homelessness in Marin. Thank you for having me here.
It's wonderful, Lucia, and I appreciate you sharing those examples and helping to drive home our mission. And there's so much power when I listen to you talking about systems being adaptive and flexible, because unfortunately, if you're homeless, you have to be adaptive and flexible every day. And you highlighted the importance of the partnerships. And of course, the most important partnership that we have is with those people that we're serving.
Absolutely.
See you.
Thank you. And having them at the center. And I know that Ritter Center does exactly that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. Now we will share with you an incredibly poignant series called The Way Home, a short form documentary series from KTF Films and Bread and Butter Films that focuses on the current homelessness epidemic in California. Next, I'm delighted to share a video message from San Rafael Mayor Kate Collin, followed by supportive words from Chandra Alexandra, CEO of Community Action Marin. Mayor Collin is the first female to hold the office of mayor since the city was incorporated in 1847. Her goals for the city include focusing on 4 key policy areas for 2021: recovering from the economic impact of COVID-19, homelessness and housing, sustainability, and racial justice. Mayor Collins strongly believes in working with the community to find solutions that reflect our values, as well as partnerships with local residents, businesses, and neighborhoods to make San Rafael the best it can be. Community Action Marin believes that every single one of us has the equal opportunity to live our lives with dignity and respect. Chandra Alexandra and her colleagues are working tirelessly to help everyone here thrive and to break down barriers in our community that keep people from helping themselves and helping each other.
San Rafael Mayor Kate Collin here, and I think it's only appropriate that I'm on the streets of San Rafael as I thank Ritter Center for all that they do to help folks get off of the street into permanent supportive housing. This past year has been a tough one, and they have delivered thousands of meals, thousands of dollars of rental assistance, lots of support, and much hope to folks. We are grateful for their collaboration and their partnership, and we wish them all the success in their Under the Stars campaign as we work together to address and resolve homelessness.
Mark and everyone at Ritter Center, congratulations on your successful event Under the Stars. On behalf of everyone at Community Action Marin, our board, our staff, our volunteers, our supporters, thank you for your partnership, for your dedication, for the work that you do each and every day to help end homelessness across Marin County. This past year, we partnered on an incredible effort to help precariously housed and homeless women gain access to employment. Your partnership made a world of difference for those individuals in our program. We're excited to continue to support this important work, to partner with you to strengthen outcomes for everyone in Marin. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Collin and Chandra, for your messages of hope and support. We look forward to what we can do together in the near future. Now, I'd like to return to the journey of Pops. Earlier tonight, we heard from Pops about some of the struggles he faced in his life. He shines a light on how someone can be employed and still need help with putting food on the table. Not only does Pops get help from Ritter Center, but he spreads the word to others while doing so.
Just ran into somebody one day, God, probably 12 years ago or so, and they told me about this place where I could go and I could get some food from a pantry. I could go and get my clothes washed. So I went down and I checked it out, and I thought, well, this is very cool because I am employed, I'm just homeless, and I started doing that, and then I started going in and washing towels for Lori and doing some things in that section of Ritter. Through Ritter and Collin, back in 2012, I got housed up in Novato, and I lived there for a couple of years and didn't get along with my roommate, and I talked to Collin about it, and Collin said, well, let's go down and look at this place in the canal. And I've got a great place in the canal, subsidized. It's a nice place, I like it. I got a backyard, and behind my backyard is canal. I got boats parked behind me. I watch go up and down with the changing of the tide. And I got a little garden in the back, and I still go by Ritter.
It may seem insignificant to others, and it's a wake-up call to those of us who aren't struggling. That simply having the gift of clean clothes and a home to be in changes the way you feel and what kind of day you can have. Now I'd like to introduce Director of Marin Health and Human Services, Benita McLaren. Her life story and life's work has been dedicated to serving the underserved. Welcome, Benita, to Under the Stars. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your story tonight. We are truly grateful for all the support and collaboration between Ritter Center and the Marin County Department of Health and Human Services.
Thank you, Mark. Yes, as mentioned, I'm Benita McLaren, Director of Health and Human Services for the County of Marin for the past 2 years. Serving the most vulnerable has long been my passion, and I believe that serving the underserved is everyone's responsibility. Service to nation, service to community, and service to people around me is my passion and what propels me and compels me forward. As a longtime health professional and having grown up in a family where I saw extended family members with unstable housing and others who experienced homelessness, I have a personal understanding of the connection of housing to our overall health and well-being. From its humble beginnings, Ritter Center has been the foundation of support for those experiencing homelessness in Marin. They were one of the first organizations to recognize that housing is health. Indeed, housing is medicine. Only 4 federally qualified health centers here in Marin County with a special focus on serving people experiencing homelessness, Ritter Center has a and special model that cares for the whole person, including providing food, medical care, and other services. Daily selfless service is the demonstration of love in action. And that's what you see at Ritter Center. Ritter Center's frontline staff are truly angels here on earth. They sincerely believe in what they're doing, and they do it with joy. They are highly committed. Because of this commitment, Marin County values the partnership we have with Ritter Center, and together we are committed to serving homeless community together. We appreciate the great work that Ritter Center is doing, and we thank them for their continued selfless service. They are a crucial partner to the success we enjoy in Marin and helping those experiencing homelessness and ending their homelessness. We are proud of the strides we've made to reduce chronic homelessness and help individuals maintain housing and self-sufficiency, but we still have a long ways to go. Our Health and Human Services whole person care and homelessness team works hard with Ritter Center and other organizations to seek out new programs to improve the lives of people experiencing homelessness. And I'm so proud of their efforts, and I want to acknowledge all of them. There are many success stories that you'll hear about tonight, but as a veteran, a military veteran myself, I'm especially proud that since October 2017, we've housed 46 homeless veterans. Overall, we now estimate there are approximately 425 people in Marin still experiencing chronic homelessness, but we know that we are determined and when we work together, great things can happen. We have seen it, and we will continue to work hard together to reduce chronic homelessness. Thank you, Ritter, for our continued partnership, and we look forward to our continued awesome collaboration. Just imagine where we might be as a society if we all would work together to change the world, one person and one moment at a time. Thank you again, and everyone on today for supporting the Ritter Center. Next, I want to talk about a video. I'm going to introduce a video for the Ritter Center. It's called RIPT. It's a systemic approach. It's a video that breaks down the very complicated issue of homelessness and addresses how, according to a 2019 report, how Marin County's prevalence of chronic homelessness is 5 times greater than the national average. How is this? And let's find out, and more importantly, what are we going to do about it? Thank you.
This is where I used to live, right here. I was chronically homeless, been homeless for years. I felt like I'd been thrown away by society.
I felt that I'd really screwed up in life, and this is my punishment.
I just didn't know how I was going to get from point A to point B. The gap was enormous that needed to be bridged, and I couldn't do it on my own.
I went by myself and I was praying and just singing over and over again, I can't do this anymore, I can't do this anymore, God help me.
The challenge of homelessness is in every community in our nation, unfortunately, especially in more affluent areas like the Bay Area.
Watched a lot of people pass away. People find, they get found in their tent dead from whatever reasons. Illness is usually 100% of the cause, but the cause of the illness varies.
I've been doing this job for 5 years, and when I started, it was difficult to coordinate care from the different agencies and from the county because we weren't talking to each other.
With whole person care, we're able to really address the issues that each person has, person by person, issue by issue, barrier by barrier.
Most importantly in that is those 2 words, whole person. We're able to now help somebody with their housing. We're able to help them with their health care. We're able to help them with their behavioral health needs. We can help them with their social needs, help them to get income. We can do all of that with one team.
I think that partnership is important because no one organization can do this alone. It's a really strong and ever-growing team of partners that are coming to the table to address this issue of homelessness.
We went on some field trips to go and see what other departments or cities had done or counties and brought back some of those practices to Marin.
Placing people into housing is the first step in healthcare. So we're going to end up saving the system money and providing a level of care and support to these folks who most need it. We've got people in housing all over the county. We've got people who are up in Novato, people in Mill Valley, Terra Linda, here in San Rafael.
Giving them the dignity of having a place to live, take a shower, cook a meal, have a safe place to visit with a friend or have a family member over. Something that really means something to us.
We all want to see people be placed in a position where they get to thrive and be a productive citizen.
The platform that they provide gives people the opportunity to rebuild their life.
I cannot believe that I finally have a car in the driveway and have a place to live.
Without that, I would have failed. I would still be caught up in that struggle of chronic homelessness.
Being treated like you're a real person means the world.
I'm completely in a sustainable situation now. You know, I will not become homeless again.
People on the street feel like getting housing is possible because their friends are getting housed. People that they've known for decades on the street are getting housed. So there's actually hope.
I believe chronic homelessness can be ended in Marin County.
It is absolutely possible to end chronic homelessness.
Absolutely, it's possible.
It is possible to end chronic homelessness, and we're going to do it. And we can only do it if we're working together.
Thank you, Benita, for your inspiring words and for sharing that moving video tonight. The great work and success that Benita highlighted is made possible by her support and leadership and the policy level leadership of the Marin County Board of Supervisors. Marin County Supervisor Damon Connolly has been a strong advocate for the values and priorities of our community. Supervisor Connolly has spearheaded our response to homelessness, and through his work, helped to develop the leaders who will shape the future and provide important input to today's policymakers. I'm pleased now to introduce Marin County Supervisor Damon Connolly.
Thank you, Mark. Good evening. I want to thank Ritter Center for having me here today and for the tremendous work they do to support some of the most vulnerable members of our community. I also want to acknowledge the broad number of partners, leaders, and community members who have stepped up to make a difference. We can't do it alone. Jurisdictions across the state are grappling with homelessness. These aren't new issues, but we are facing new and unique circumstances as a result of COVID. We know that people experiencing homelessness in Marin are primarily Marin residents and longstanding members of our community. I'm proud of our unified effort to find compassionate solutions toward housing and care. Since the start of the pandemic, we have housed 153 people experiencing chronic homelessness in permanent supportive housing and housed people 34% faster. Longer term, we have supported 353 people experiencing chronic homelessness in permanent supportive housing since the launch of coordinated entry in October 2017, with a 94% housing retention rate. The fact is that despite these efforts and their success, we know we need to do more. Marin County is committed to a housing first model because we know that the solution to homelessness is a home. We recently secured an additional 115 federally funded housing vouchers through the Marin Housing Authority. But in order to provide associated supportive services, we need additional case managers. The county is looking to partner with cities and towns to address the need for case management. We believe we can make meaningful progress by working together to fund 4 full-time case managers with $2 million over 4 years. The county is prepared to contribute $1.2 million to the effort, and our discussions with the cities and towns are ongoing. These partnerships are one example of the ongoing work. We continue to bolster our mobile crisis units countywide, offering a response to people in crisis wherever they are located, oftentimes on the streets, with an alternative to a law enforcement first approach. And we continue to work with the landlord community through the county's landlord partnership program, providing a pathway to housing for those who have a voucher. I want to take a moment to thank both the City of San Rafael and the town of Corte Madera for welcoming 2 Project Homekey sites, another cornerstone of our housing first approach. What we thought to be impossible just a few years ago has now become a reality. We're happy to see the availability of Homekey 2.0 with additional state funding and are actively working with local jurisdictions and partners to secure locations. I look forward to continuing this work with Ritter and with all of our partners. Together, we can end chronic homelessness in Marin. Thank you, and I'll turn it back over to Mark.
Thank you, Supervisor Connolly, for your partnerships in the community and with Ritter Center to end homelessness. Now for the special treat we've been waiting for, our advanced screening of The Way Home, Season 2, Episode 4, followed by a talkback with Director Don Hardy. This gives us a lot to think about and discuss. To hear more about The Way Home, let's welcome Director Don Hardy of KTF Films. Thank you for being here, Don.
Thanks so much for having me.
The Way Home is the most powerful series on homelessness I've seen in a long time. Why did you make the Way Home series?
Well, living here in the Bay Area, homelessness is something that we see every day. And for myself and my filmmaking partners, we'd wanted to try to tell a story about homelessness for quite a while. And we heard that Kaiser Permanente was also looking to do something about the intersection of homelessness and health. And so we had a meeting with them. And as independent documentary filmmakers, you want to be very cautious about partnerships you get into and kind of set the ground rules for, can we tell this story in an independent way? And Kaiser Permanente was very amenable to it. They believed in the vision that we had for it, and they helped us along the way to find the right contacts and use some of their knowledge to try to bring these stories to life. And it's been a great partnership, and we just feel so honored to be able to meet the people that we have and to try to tell their stories and try to put a face to the people that we see on the streets, the tents that we see lining our streets, and try to bring a little more humanity to the people that are inside those tents.
The profiles in the interviews are just so powerful. Did you meet anyone who didn't want to be housed?
It's an interesting question. There was a couple of people. There's a big camp in Oakland underneath the maze that they call the Wood Street camp. And there's some people in there that have been in there for years. And they'll say that they're okay there. They figured out a way to live outside. But then when you talk to them a little while longer, they very quickly say they really want to go back to the way things were before, that they had a house, they had a job, they had those things. So I think they will tell themselves that to help get through the day. But ultimately, they all want a path back to being inside a house and having a job and doing all of the things that many of us take for granted, the normal things of life.
Mm-hmm. We're so happy you gave us an advanced screening of an episode from season 2. and it has several important issues related to homelessness, including redlining and COVID. Let's talk first about redlining. Can you give us a quick definition, and how has redlining contributed to homelessness?
Yeah, and thank you for giving us an opportunity to screen an episode of season 2 here and season 1. And it's I think for season 2, the arc of the season begins right as COVID begins in March of 2020, and those first months, first weeks and first couple of months, where many people forecasted that COVID would be absolutely devastating for the homeless community. So for us as filmmakers, we were just trying to document that. So that's the first episode of season 2. And then it does get into other issues, in particular down in Los Angeles in episode 3 of season 2. We get into the story of this one camp that was picked up by LA Family Housing, picked up and moved into a hotel as part of the Project Room Key program. That camp sits on the edge of Pacoima, which is a community in Southern California in the San Fernando Valley that historically was one of the places where African American, Black Americans could live and could buy property. They were excluded from several other communities in that region and many regions around our country because of the practice of redlining, which is basically eliminating the possibility for Black Americans to own homes. And so in this episode 3, we talk about many of the people that are in this camp today in 2020, 2021. The reason they're there is because that's the only home they knew growing up was in this Pacoima region, because that's where their families could buy homes back in the 50s and 60s. So I hope that wasn't too complicated, but it kind of brings people up to what the stage we set in that episode. And then COVID is certainly an underlying theme throughout the season as well.
It's interesting listening to you, because the experience that you had of people being in and staying in a place that is home to them and is familiar to them really busts that myth that, people are coming from all around the world to certain places for to be homeless. And we've definitely learned that here in Marin County with,
Sure.
80% of the people who are homeless in Marin were housed in Marin when they became homeless.
It is one of those things that I hear every time I'm at a dinner party or something, that the subject of homelessness comes up often. And it is such a misconception that's out there that all of these people come from other places to be homeless in the Bay Area. Mm-hmm. And it really isn't the case. From all of the people I've met in the 3 years now of documenting this, they all have roots right here in Oakland or in San Francisco, or we did an episode down in Bakersfield, in Sacramento, in Los Angeles. They're from that community. They were participating members in that community. And then something happened. It could be a health-related issue, a loss of a job, something with a family member, and they go through the same process of having to remove their belongings from their home, crashing on couches of friends for as long as they can. Then they exhaust that possibility. They end up in their car, and then they end up losing their car, and then they're on the street. And we've heard it time and time again. I live in Alameda, and one of the first people we met when we were filming season 1, she actually worked at Alameda Hospital, which is less than a mile from my house. And that is the story of what happened with her. She got sick and ended up living with her son in a van down by the waterfront here in Alameda, a place where I walk my dogs regularly. So that one is probably the one that touched me the most right out of the gate. It just, wow, this is a woman that tried to do everything right, and it just didn't work out, and then she fell through the safety net.
It's so important for us to get to know the stories of people who've become homeless and how they got there. And the story you just told touches me so deeply. I was born in Alameda. I was born in Alameda Hospital. So,
oh, wow.
Very, very touching to hear that. Let's discuss COVID. The good, there's been a lot of emergency funding, and that's more people being able to be sheltered and opportunities to provide housing. and the bad, the virus itself, medical crises, and the question or the concern posed by Darrell Steinberg, the mayor of Sacramento, about the approaching tsunami of evictions. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I thought Mayor Steinberg, who has really been a leader on the issue of homelessness for many years, he put it just such a blunt term, and this is in the last episode of season 2. But we really wanted to get his point of view in there because it is such a strong one. And this pending tsunami, we all have to pay attention to, because as these eviction moratoriums come up in the next couple of months, if we don't help the organizations that are dealing with these issues day in and day out, if we don't help them with funding or with volunteer hours or just knowledge of their actions, you're going to see a lot of people fall into homelessness, and people that have never been there before, meaning they don't have those survival skills that are certainly learned when you spend some time on the street. And that is a scary thought, because we all drive around and we see the camps seem to have grown so much over the past year and a half during COVID, but at the same time, record number of people have been housed during the past year and a half as well through Project Roomkey and Project Homekey and other initiatives that have really worked. But the net result is when what we see on the street is, oh my, there's so many more people out here now. And so that will continue to grow unless the organizations doing the work have the funding they need to get these newly homeless people into supportive housing situations.
And it's so important that we're talking about this today, when today is the day that without action from Congress, the national eviction moratorium comes to an end. And that really could bring on, unfortunately, the tsunami that the mayor was discussing.
Yeah, it's scary to think about.
Yeah. We're very familiar in Marin and through Ritter Center with Project Roomkey and Project Homekey, and have had great success, as has happened throughout the state with those programs. And it's a great question that's posed in the episode. What will we be able to do if this tsunami of homelessness happens? And what can we do to not just head it off, but also to resolve homelessness entirely?
Boy, I wish I had an answer. That it's such a big question and an important question. I've been incredibly heartened over the past few years of getting to meet a lot of those frontline people that are doing the work, that are helping to, it could be as seemingly simple as getting somebody from a tent to the DMV to get their license renewed, because really without a driver's license, you can't access many of these services that are available. And that seems easy, but if you don't have a car, and maybe there are substance abuse issues, maybe there is some mental illness, but you can't, or maybe it's just simply you can't leave your possessions in whatever tent you're calling home to go get that license. It's things like that. I go back to the support of the organizations that are really doing the work. I think that's the first way out of this. The bigger picture, as Mayor Steinberg says in that piece, is continued federal funding. We need serious federal funding to keep the programs that are working going forward, and to also develop new programs using the brain power of our country, and in particular, the Bay Area. We have a lot of the smartest minds working here that are doing amazing things in technology, biotech, other things every day. If we can turn it to this problem and realize that this is one of the top social, racial justice, education situations that we have in our country, then I think we could see profound change. But it's going to take all hands on deck helping to resolve it.
Mm-hmm. In the way home, you highlight the work of communities across the nation that are part of the Built for Zero collaborative. And we're seeing more and more progress in reducing and ending chronic homelessness in these communities, including Marin County. What actions are the most important for our legislators and for philanthropy to take to finally end the scourge of homelessness in our nation?
Well, what we've seen in the organization we've worked most closely with is Community Solutions. And in particular, we profiled what they were doing down in Kern County, Bakersfield, California, where they were working with the local government to end chronic homelessness. And that's a goal they did achieve this year, and they're very proud of, and they should be. So I think what we saw in Bakersfield can be replicated elsewhere. What they don't know yet, as far as I know, is how well it can scale to, say, from a Kern County, Bakersfield area to Oakland, or to, when you go from the hundreds of thousands to the millions, can it scale? I think that's a big question that they're asking, and many of the organizations they collaborate with are asking. But I think it starts there with the boots on the ground. But we have to look for funding, and as far as I know, President Biden hasn't said exactly what the funding is going to be for homeless programs moving forward. And I understand that there's a lot of things on his plate, but that one certainly needs to be addressed and figure out. I think we do have the people there that can work for really positive change, and we're starting to see that will to recognize that this is a racial justice issue. This is a health issue. All of these things are connected. It's not just homelessness. But some of the things that definitely seem to be working are the housing first model, where you don't look to solve the substance abuse or the mental illness. So you look to solve the housing first, and then the other things will follow. Have those support services available. That's one thing we've seen firsthand that seems to be have a very positive impact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's just so important when you're talking about the promotion of the housing first model in our country. And then, jurisdictions like Kern County that through the support of Community Solutions and Built for Zero, I think what's so great about that is that it's like you said, maybe it needs to be scaled. Maybe we need to innovate on top of what they did, but let's not start from scratch. We can learn from one another. We can partner with one another. And I think that's what the community is also looking to us who are providers to do, is to partner. And I know that's been so important in the success that we've had so far here in Marin, and going out to other counties and calling people in other states and saying, what are you doing? So that we don't have to make it all up here at home. And when we find something that works here at home, let's share it with others, because we all got to solve this problem together, right?
Absolutely right. And that really was part of the vision for the Way Home at the very beginning. And I feel because of COVID, we haven't been able to realize it yet, but we're starting to, and events like this are a huge part of it, is getting these episodes in front of people, putting those faces and names and stories out there so that people can, it's just hard to ignore when it's a person, that it's really hard to ignore that that they deserve your attention and your respect. And so hopefully these short films can be a vehicle for more interactions like this, and good people coming together to share those ideas and that knowledge that we can all gain from, whether we're a regular citizen or we're a homeless advocate or we're a healthcare provider. Whatever we're in, we can share this information, and that's it. We're all working for the same mission, so let's share what we know.
Yeah, and it takes it out of the generic "let's solve homelessness," and it says let's provide housing and give support to the people who need that, so that we can truly be a community with them, rather than being a community around them while they suffer and have the tragedy of homelessness, as we've talked about tonight, in a place that is still home for them, despite the fact that they have a home.
Yeah, very, very well said. I think that is, it's important. And I guarantee you have the same conversations I do with friends that think otherwise. And you can't preach to them, but you can show them one of these pieces, or you can talk to them about the personal experiences you've had, and you see a connection happening. So if we can do more virtual, hopefully someday more in person, where we can get the thought leaders together to talk about what's working and what isn't, and have that open conversation. That's, I think, a big first step.
Here. Thank you so much, Don. This has been such a wonderful addition to not only our event, but the work we share together as allies in ending homelessness. We can't wait to see season 2 in its entirety. And we're also grateful to Kaiser Permanente for producing this excellent series and its continuous partnership with you and with Ritter Center. Thank you for shining a light on the realities of homelessness.
Thanks so much, Mark. And thanks for the work that you do. It is really, it's important, and I'm happy to be part of it anytime.
Right on. Thanks again.
Thanks, man. Bye-bye.
Speaking of thanks, let's turn our attention to our major event sponsors. I'd like to thank our back to school sponsors, Marin Homeless Aid, Pray Tell, and San Francisco Chronicle and SF Gate. Pray Tell, a marketing agency in San Francisco, graciously donated their resources to strategically manage much of our event's social media. Marin Homeless Aid and PJ O'Connell have a musical history of supporting nonprofits in the community by hosting a live benefit concert each year. And even though the concert couldn't happen this year due to COVID, PJ reached out to their donors and everyone agreed to support our Under the Stars event. Hearst Media, San Francisco Chronicle, and SF Gate donated digital marketing and published our article on dispelling myths around homelessness. You can see that in our program booklet. I'd also like to thank our food pantry sponsors, Elsa L, United Markets, Redwood Credit Union, and Marin Living Magazine. We absolutely could not have made tonight possible without their support. Now, on to the fundraising awards with Director of Development, Jessica Hansen.
Good evening, everyone. We began fundraising for this event in April, and we had a steep curve to climb in kicking off our first year sleep out. Based on the incredible foundation that you've all created this year, we think that future sleep outs are going to be even better and more exciting each year. We hope the event will grow, and I thank you for piloting the way forward. Before we get to our fundraising awards, I'd like to thank our outreach sponsors, Whipfleet LLP, Iconoclast Custom Surfboards and Mike Wallace, Jessica Hansen Consulting, Vilda, Unicorn Printing Group, and Marin Independent Journal. Thank you for making this event possible. So let's get on with the fundraising awards. Take it from me, a lifelong fundraiser. Not everyone is eager to ask friends, family, and colleagues to donate and support causes that they care about. However, with this event, we experienced just the opposite, and now we would like to recognize those with top honors. One note before I announce the winners. In the interest of fairness, our award winners were limited to 1 award apiece. We know this probably doesn't matter to you since you did this to assist individuals who are experiencing homelessness and to support Ritter Center programs, and maybe for a little bit of the glory. Kicking it off are the Ritter Center Staff Awards. They're not just dedicated to their work at Ritter, they also showed up in a big way for this event. The staff team that raised the highest average amount per team member goes to Savvy Sleepers. Way to go. And the other staff award goes to the staff member who raised the most. Congratulations, Samson. We'll be in touch with all of you regarding your prizes. And now for our community awards. We have a special corporate team award, but unfortunately we didn't have a corporate team participating. This event is a great way to get your employees involved in a fun, worthwhile volunteer activity, and we hope our corporate friends will get involved next year. And now, the Youth Philanthropist Award goes to the young person under 18 who led the fundraising in their age group. We had a tie between Edie and B. Robiliard. Congratulations! You have won 2 free passes to the San Francisco Zoo. Next, I'd like to present the award for largest team to Team Hope. For your dedication, Comforts Cafe and Equators Coffees have provided you with very generous gift certificates, and you can enjoy a family yoga session at Meta Yoga. The Adult Philanthropist Award goes to the adult who raised the most. Congratulations, Tim Biddle, for your outstanding fundraising leadership on your team, Velma Stargazers. Buena Vista Vineyards sponsored your award with a tour and tasting for 4. And finally, our Community or Family Team Award goes to the team that raised the most. The McCaskill Family Team. Thank you, Bob and Pam, for being model ambassadors for Ritter Center and having really generous friends. On behalf of Farniente Vineyards, please enjoy a tour and tasting, and from Meta Yoga, 2 1-month unlimited memberships. After sleeping out tonight, you're going to need a good stretch. We give a huge thanks to all who participated. We really could not have done it without you. And don't worry, if you didn't win a fundraising award, you can still win big at the silent auction. You have until 11:45 tonight to get your last bids in, so when our program ends, head on over to see our incredible auction lineup that includes vacations, tickets to the Super Bowl and American Music Awards, sporting and outdoor experiences, a private Michelin chef dinner party in your home, exclusive dining packages, as well as bucket list items like a trek up Mount Everest or Kilimanjaro. Local businesses donated special items and events, like a book talk for 20 at Book Passage, and gear from Sports Basement Novato. Please support our local businesses. It's been a difficult 18 months for them. And remember, proceeds benefit Ritter Center programs. And now, we have one final segment from Pops, so let's hear how he's doing today.
What do you think the community here would be like without Ritter Center?
I think we'd have a lot more, we'd have more people on the street, and we'd have more people that needed mental health, and they're not getting the mental help that they need. You know, that's what I think would be the problem.
When you think of Ritter Center and the staff and everything they do for the community, are there words that come to mind?
Helpful, friendly, and caring.
Nobody tops Pops. He's thriving. He's living in an apartment in the Canal District of San Rafael and forged an incredible connection with the San Rafael High School, where he volunteers every day, taking care of the grounds, facilities, and the athletic team's needs. Pops has bonded with many students and enjoys talking with them about their challenges and choices as they navigate the uncertainties of youth and young adulthood. For those in our community who believe individuals who are homeless and struggling cannot be valuable, productive members of the community, the story of Pops offers a different perspective. Everyone deserves to be treated with dignity, compassion, and respect. Housing is a human right. Well, that's it. We're nearing the end of our time together tonight. Here's what I'd like you to remember about tonight's event. Housing is a health intervention, just like physical therapy, medicine, and behavioral health. We are each only so many steps away from homelessness. This lens shapes our work at Ritter. We roll out a welcome mat in a variety of ways and create a foundation of trust and build a bridge to a better tomorrow. On behalf of Ritter Center, I thank you from the bottom of our hearts for your ongoing support and for participating in Under the Stars. Closing our program tonight is a thoughtful bedtime story, Last Stop on Market Street by Matt Della Pena, read by Mari Allen of Book Passage, and followed by Gershwin's Summertime, performed by the San Francisco Ballet musicians. Remember that together, with compassion, care, and connection, we can end homelessness and improve the lives of our most vulnerable neighbors. Tonight, we wish you an uncomfortable night sleeping out. Good night.
Hello, my name is Mari Allen, and I'm a children's bookseller here at Book Passage in Corte Madera. We also have a store at the Ferry Building in San Francisco. It is my great honor to be joining you this evening as you celebrate all that the Ritter Center does to support homeless families in our community. This evening, I've chosen to read the book Last Stop on Market Street by award-winning writer Matt de la Pena and illustrated by equally renowned artist and illustrator Christian Robinson. I hope you enjoy it. Last Stop on Market Street. CJ pushed through the church doors, skipped down the steps. The outside air smelled like freedom, but it also smelled like rain, which freckled CJ's shirt and dripped down his nose. He ducked under his Nana's umbrella, saying, "How come we gotta wait for the bus in all this wet?" "Trees get thirsty too," his Nana told him. "Don't you see that big one drinking through a straw?" CJ looked for a long time, but never saw a straw. From the bus stop, he watched water pool on flower petals, watched rain patter against the windshield of a nearby car. His friend Colby climbed in, gave CJ a wave, and drove off with his dad. "Nana, how come we don't got a car?" "Boy, what do we need a car for? We got a bus that breathes fire and old Mr. Dennis, who always has a trick for you." The bus creaked to a stop in front of them. It sighed and sagged, and the doors swung open. "What's that I see?" Mr. Dennis asked. He pulled a coin from behind CJ's ear and placed it in his palm. Nana laughed her deep laugh and pushed CJ along. They sat right up front. The man across the way was tuning a guitar. An old woman with curlers had butterflies in a jar. Nana gave everyone a great big smile and a "good afternoon." She made sure that CJ did the same. The bus lurched forward and stopped, lurched forward and stopped. Nana hummed as she knit. "How come we always gotta go here after church?" CJ said. "Miguel and Colby never have to go nowhere." "I feel sorry for those boys," she told him. "They'll never get a chance to meet Bobo or the Sunglass Man. And I hear Trixie got herself a brand new hat." CJ stared out the window, feeling sorry for himself. He watched cars zip by on either side, watched a group of boys hop curbs on bikes. A man climbed aboard with a spotted dog. CJ gave up his seat. "How come that man can't see?" "Boy, what do you know about seeing?" Nana told him. "Some people watch the world with their ears." "That's a fact. Their noses too," the man said, sniffing at the air. That's a mighty fine perfume you're wearing today, ma'am." Nana squeezed the man's hand and laughed her deep laugh. Two older boys got on next. CJ watched as they moved on by and stood in back. "Sure wish I had one of those," he said. Nana set down her knitting. "What for? You got the real live thing sitting across from you. Why don't you ask the man if he'll play us a song?" But CJ didn't have to. The guitar player was already plucking strings and beginning to sing. "To the magic of music," the blind man whispered. "I like to close my eyes." Nana closed hers too. So did CJ and the spotted dog. And in the darkness, the rhythm lifted CJ out of the bus, out of the busy city. He saw sunset colors swirling over crashing waves, saw a family of hawks slicing through the sky, saw the old woman's butterflies dancing free in the light of the moon. CJ's chest grew full, and he was lost in the sound, and the sound gave him the feeling of magic. The song ended, and CJ opened his eyes. Everyone on the bus clapped, even those boys in the back. Nana glanced at the coin in CJ's palm. CJ dropped it in the man's hat. "Up on Market Street," Mr. Dennis called. CJ looked around as he stepped off the bus. Crumbling sidewalks and broken down doors, graffiti tagged windows and boarded up stores. He reached for his Nana's hand. "How come it's always so dirty over here?" She smiled and she pointed to the sky. "Sometimes when you're surrounded by dirt, CJ, you're better witness for what is beautiful." CJ saw the perfect rainbow arcing over their soup kitchen. He wondered how his Nana always found beautiful where he never even thought to look. He looked all around them again, at the bus rounding the corner out of sight, and the broken street lamps still lit up bright, and the stray cat shadows moving across the wall. When he spotted their familiar faces in the window, he said, "Nana, I'm glad we came." He thought his Nana laughed, her deep laugh, but she didn't. She patted him on the head and told him, "Me too, CJ. Now come on." The end. I hope you enjoyed hearing Last Stop on Market Street by Matt de la Pena. And thank you so much for supporting the Ritter Center and all it does to support homeless families in our area. I hope to see you at Book Passage, either here or at the Ferry Building. I also have a story time on Tuesday mornings at 9:50 if you want to hear more stories right outside of our store. Good night and sweet dreams.